Okay. Hi, welcome to another episode of Slay with me, Leigh Clark. Today, I'm doing something I normally don't do. Normally, I catch up with my guests first and then we go live. But I'm so friggin' excited about everything that's happening for Heather Palo in her life. And we have not really spoken since we were together on the first ever Slaycation in Arizona. And since then, so many things have happened. So I wanted you guys to hear my genuine excitement to catch up with her. But also hi, how are you? What are you doing? And also,
Hi. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, you know, things are rolling and moving at a very fast pace. So I don't really know what's happening.
yeah, I didn't even properly introduce her either. Sarasota's premier realtor, Heather Palo, so much more. She's a TV host for the American Dream Home, which is on like all the things from Roku to Apple TV and so on and so forth. She's doing beautiful picnics by the beach. She's doing so much fun stuff. But literally, when we met a couple of years ago, she did have her own. You had your own independent real estate company, and we talked about her story, and I've seen just so much happen since you shared your story. So will you tell everybody kind of your backstory?
Yeah, so I started in real estate about 10 years ago. I went from teaching Taekwondo to selling homes. And I was born and raised here in Sarasota, so obviously know the area really well. And it's something I had always thought about doing, like back in 2007 when I turned 18. But that's when like the market crashed and everyone was like, that's not a good idea. So I went to college and kept doing Taekwondo. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, it's time. And so I jumped in head first, and it's been a crazy roller coaster, but it's been amazing. And then I got asked to be a host on this TV show, and I'm like, ooh, why? I don't want to do that. Well, first it started with the book, and I was like, me, an author in a book? What are these people thinking? You know? And then it just kind of like evolved from there. I'm like, okay, from a book to TV, here we are.
And you're up in a down market, which is insane.
Yeah.
And not at all taking any responsibility or credibility for your success, but I do remember talking to you 2 years ago and you being like, maybe. And then to see like you step into that, the connect, if like, okay, when I graduated from my college, the most exciting thing that ever happened to me, the Today Show, Rachel Ray Show, not that exciting. When my college
Awesome.
newspaper said that I was the alumni, like that they were like, she's a good example of what we do here. You are the like alumni, the good example of what we do here. And then obviously it's all your own because not everyone had the success you have, but you
Yeah.
really stepped into it. You leaned into it. You leaned into the friendships. You leaned into the trips. You leaned into believing in what we were about and also acknowledging yourself in a way that I feel a little bit like I got to be a part of because I see the glow up and the glow up with Heather is super fucking
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Ah, thank you. I do remember our first meeting and I was like super intimidated. I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen here. Like, why did somebody nominate me? Like, what is happening in my life right now? Like, I don't feel like I'm in this place, but now I'm like, okay, I think I've gained like so much confidence just since then to be like, no, I deserve a seat at this table. Like, I deserve to be here. And here I am. And I'm going to show up authentically me. And that's it. So I'm
I
really
love
grateful to
that. No,
you.
and you
And
went to yeah, you went to Europe and you like did all like you're
yeah.
so leaned into like Heather's like loving glow up and I love to see it. You are a representation of what so many women should do. Is saying yes and to things that are scary but
Mhm.
exciting. Do you feel
Yeah.
like that's a lot of your new kind of attitude is taking more risks and doing more things?
Yeah, I think so. I think growing up, I had a very like, I don't like to take risks. I like when things are like, okay, so I love math because there's a definite answer. Two plus two always will equal four. I don't care how you slice it, always. And so I don't like the unknown. And so I've always just been a little hesitant to like step into something that has a little bit more risk than what I normally would take. And now, like in my 30s, I'm like, here we are.
But you're doing like all the things. And again, like it's not the unicorn market it was in 2017, and yet Heather is
Right.
literally fucking slaying, guys. Like, and
Thanks.
seeing it, but also really showing up for the community. And that was one thing I really loved about your story, which you made mention of, is that you are born and raised there. You did all your taekwondo there. You have
Mhm.
your nieces and nephews. Your family like lives right there. You're so close with your mom, and like to be able to be the voice of Sarasota real estate, it makes sense that you have such a different perspective. Like you really are homegrown. And I've seen you grow
Hmm.
also. Like I know we were out in Sedona and you were talking about expanding your real estate portfolio and investments and stuff. Are you still
Hmm.
doing all that? Are you advising your clients to do the same?
Yeah, I think I put a little bit of a halt to that right now, just because some things have changed in my life and my focus has shifted a little bit. And so I actually like went down to the Dominican Republic a couple times. I was hoping to buy an investment property down there. And then I realized how different real estate is in that world. And I'm like, no, no. This girl doesn't have patience for that yet.
Oh,
So I
that
kind of put a
part.
halt. Yeah. Because that was my original plan. I'm like, okay, great. Like especially, the new book that's coming out next year. And that's
Yes.
one of my goals on there was, investing in real estate besides, the home I have here. And so I was all gung ho about it. And then I realized I'm like, I'm an agent and these agents do not work the same. And so I think I need to pull back a little bit and do a little bit more research. Anybody can sell real estate over there. You don't need
That's
a
crazy.
license. And so I was like, wait, wait, wait. Let me just pump the brakes because I wanted it to be a place that my family could enjoy as well. I have a friend who owns a condo down there. And so I just thought, oh, this would be a great opportunity. And so now I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take a little bit more time and figure out what I truly want. And that might be here in Florida. It might be somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, and the project she's alluding to is a cool project called One Year Later, which I feel good about talking about now because no one can take the concept because they have to wait a whole year to get the book out. So, so it's great. No, but really, we this is one of the first. It is the first offshoot in the Slay the USA series, and it's a project that started in Sedona. And also we have other women who joined the project as well called One Year Later. And so we all wrote our goals in June of 2025 of like what we
Mhm.
wanted to accomplish in the next year. Mine was like leaving corporate already happened, starting a podcast
Yeah.
already happened, like, but also accountability. And then also not everything is what I think it will be. And then now there's new things exploding that I would have never even predicted. Like when we
Yeah.
get off the phone, because I'm working on something super NDA top secret-ish, like stuff. Yeah, it's so exciting, but that wasn't anywhere on the map. So I think that that's the beauty of the project too, is that we set these goals, but then life surprises us and gives us some other direction on one thing. And so do you feel like that so far we're like what, 6 months in, right? Are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're six
Yeah.
months in now, almost next month.
Almost.
So what do you think of your first 6 months in this?
Yeah. What I am learning in this season of life is that I have been such a perfectionist my whole life. Like if I didn't get an A on something in school, like I'd have a full on meltdown. And it wasn't like brought on by my family, like you have to do good in school and you have to be on the dean's list. It was like self-inflicted. And so I kind of was like really hesitant. I'm like, man, I just like what are easy attainable goals? And I'm like, no, that never pushes me to the limit. I need something that's going to stretch me. And then I realized that like if I don't hit every goal, it's okay. Like it's about the journey and not so much the destination for me at this point in time in my life that I'm okay with the journey. And that is something I never thought I would ever say out loud. So here we
I
are,
love
Lee,
them.
raw and everything.
And it's so great because you can see it, right? And so we talk about a lot that we have like back groups and things in the Slay the USA series, and we talk a lot about authenticity. And you're now very much a public figure, which is a new
Hmm.
role, and that's scary because it's very performative, right?
Hmm.
But performative is cringe, which you've learned, right?
Yeah.
Performative is cringe because it's not real, it's performative. So it
Hmm.
has to be real, it has to be authentic. And I've seen the evolution in the show too, like now when you're at the bartender, like you're so natural, you're so calm, you're
Hmm.
okay with the mess ups, like you don't have to do a million takes, I can tell.
Hmm.
But that
Yeah.
doesn't come overnight because in life we all have to kind of get past things that make us feel performative,
Hmm.
because it is the journey and we're always learning, and our imperfections are enjoyable. They make other people feel seen, like
Yeah.
you not being like always like the happiest about like this or that, somebody else
Hmm.
can relate, and then they're like, okay, it's not just me. Or, it's like we become the role models when we allow
Yeah.
people in. Did you feel like that with your chapter and stuff, like being more vulnerable about like your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, I think so. Because I just, goals are something that I always felt like were super private. And I'm like, oh wow, like this is the scariest thing for me. It's like sharing this with the world because failure could be an option,
Yeah.
and success could be like, could be an option. And how do I feel about success and failure?
Mm.
Sometimes it's also hard to be successful and you have this
Mm.
pressure on yourself and like the fear of success and what comes next, and like
Yeah.
I never thought that any of these things would come next. I do not like being on camera, and here I am, and here I am on a national TV show talking about whatever. But I think that like what's really cool about it is that I have also seen like the transformation, and I've put in a lot of work, like especially over the past couple of years, like I've put a lot of work into myself, and now I feel like there's proof where I'm like, oh, if I never had this opportunity, like I wouldn't be able to see it for myself. Only people from the outside looking in would be able to tell me. But I'm like, no, no, I can see it, and that's a really cool
Now
feeling.
you can see it. And I love that, man. I love that so much. I love that. I want that for everyone, and
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about is like the mental sit-ups that are very fucking required if you want to
Hmm.
get to a place of personal peace. One is losing
Yeah.
fear of judgment, right? Realizing that we cannot be seen and not judged. Those two things, like even if you were Jesus, like it didn't work for
Yeah.
him either. That's not a realistic goal, right? So if you're going to be seen, you're
Hmm.
going to be judged, and you're not always going to be judged favorably because the world is full of dark and light.
Right.
And I think we talked about this in Sedona. For me, when I got comfortable with what do I not like about myself, and for me, it's
Hmm.
weight, right? So I got really clear, like if somebody like called me fat, it would bother me, right?
Hmm.
And within a week, somebody called me fat on my fucking page. Some guy writes fat bitch, and like I didn't even know him. He was just trolling, and I was like, well, there it is. Am I gonna not eat the
Oh
Cheetos
man.
anyway and let it motivate me, or am I gonna make peace with
Hmm.
the fact that that's on me and that's my
Hmm.
choice to like have that feeling? And also, what a lame like person who sits home on a Friday night and just tears women
Right.
down. Like, good for you,
Yeah.
buddy. I bet your life is super fucking awesome. But
Yeah.
that being said, I think, when you put yourself out there and you say yes to things, like you're never just like, you're learning. You're always learning. You're always learning. And I have this good like
Hmm.
metaphor experience. So I do art on the side. And I made a deal with myself that I would not stop painting something until I loved it. Like I would not stop. I
Oh.
would just keep going. And even if it was this thick, I would not stop. One day I ended up stepping on a ballerina painting that I had
Oh
done,
no.
and there was a big hole in it. And I'm like, well, now it's done. So I went in the house, I got $100 bill, I folded it up and made that the tutu in the hole. And the metaphor is that like just keep going right until you love it,
Yeah.
and like you can continue to pivot and evolve. We're not the sum of our mistakes, we're the sum of our decisions, right? And I've
Right.
seen that in you, right? Because stepping into like the can I see what everyone else sees for me? And I know that's
Hmm.
always happened because you've always been successful in like taekwondo and you've been a leader in those spaces. But I love that you're starting to see it. And do you credit that to pouring into yourself, the self travel, the like exploration?
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of times we go through life trying to please everyone else and do things for everyone else. And I'm just such a believer that like it starts within. So I'm not going to wait for somebody to do this for me, or I'm not going to wait for somebody who, wants to travel the world with me or whatever. Like I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to do it now. Because I think a lot of what people think the American dream actually is working to the bone until you're like 65 or whatever the age is that you can actually like legally retire and get your retirement. And then they start living. And I'm like, no, no, that's like, I don't want to start living when I'm old and gray and can barely move. Like, I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to work and play at the same time. And I think that that's what keeps me going is that I get to do both, but it's because I set my life up like that. It wasn't that
Correct.
I was waiting for somebody to give that to me. And so I think that, people should just like take a hold of the reins and say, okay, like this is what I'm going to do. And I feel like once I did that and I stopped trying to like make everyone happy or, the fear of the judgment of other people of what I was doing or like, you know, if I didn't sell 10 houses this month, like, what are people going to think? Like, I don't care because you know what? I have time with my family. Success is totally different to me than what it is to somebody else. I have time with my family. I can travel. I can do what I want. And if I'm not selling $10 million homes every single month, like, so what? Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel that way too. And I feel like really success is being able to say yes to the things you want to say yes to, and
Yeah.
be that's really like genuinely success. And that can be as big or as small as someone who coming from like Microsoft and Salesforce and all these like amazing,
Hmm.
like huge companies. I always thought like that's what I wanted. I don't want that. I don't want that many
Yeah.
people relying on me. I don't want that
Yeah.
much. I don't want that. That's not what I want. I don't know that I need the gigantic thing. We want the
Hmm.
resources, right? A lot of us want the
Right.
resources. And we're now living in a day and age where you get to decide what role you step into. Like you've never been a TV host before, and now you're a TV host. And like
Hmm.
it's a role that you didn't know you were ready for, but that now you are that, right? Like I
Yeah.
recently became a publicist and I know how to do it and I've been doing it for years. And like, how do you guys think we see all these like TV shows on the feed? I love that. But can I help other
Yeah.
people? Can I help other people
Yeah.
who are intentional, like share their voice and share their mission?
Yeah.
Have you done a lot more in the community? I know you're everywhere right now with like all these businesses. So tell me kind of like what that's been like in like meeting all these business owners and highlighting them on your show. Because their show is more than real estate guys. If you haven't seen it, it's really the life behind the city. And she's the voice of Sarasota. As a realtor, she obviously knows the market, and the show is on that like spectrum of HGTV isms, but
Mhm.
very much about Sarasota as a whole. So tell me about that and the business owners you've like gotten to feature.
Yeah, I think it's been like super like near and dear to my heart because I get to choose who I'm going to, highlight on the show, and I get to choose what businesses I'm going to interview. And so that's been really fun. And also just, seeing the community like nominate people to be on the show and what businesses they think they should be highlighted. And I also just like played into my strengths and like what do I love and what is it about this city that I love. And so like my first episode was I went diving, shark tooth diving because I love sharks. I love the water, and Venice is the shark tooth capital of the world, so why not dive in? And so I got to highlight a local dive shop, which was really cool because that's where I learned, to scuba dive. And then the second one I did was it's a local restaurant and they've expanded to different things, which I thought was super cool, which I didn't even know about. Like they've expanded added another restaurant, added an event space. And it's a place that, I grew up going to, and my high school was right across the street, and we had our prom there, our senior prom, we had our 10-year reunion there. So it was really cool to just like sit down with the owner, which I never would have had that opportunity to do that, if it wasn't for the show. And so, it was really cool. And then this last episode that I just filmed, I was like, wow, like how cool it is I got to highlight three local entrepreneurs, three
Yes.
local business women who are killing it in what they're doing. And now I'm seeing that they're being highlighted, in magazines and on, I think it's the Suncoast View or something like that, on local TV show here. And so I'm like, look at them. Like, I'm so proud of them and proud that I also get to highlight like what amazing businesswomen they are, and they're killing it. And so that is the part that I really love is like you truly get to see like, okay, what's Sarasota all about? It's not just million-dollar homes. Like there's real people with real lives. And I'm sure like, you interviewed how many women here in
Mhm.
Sarasota? Like I'm sure you have that kind of perspective as well. And the fact that you get to do that like all over the United States, and you get to see more of the core of the community than just like the outside perspective or what you see on social media, what you see on TV. So I think that's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's so fun. I mean, that's what made me leave my corporate career. And aside from the college like magazine, like Today Show, Rachel Ray Show, none of that stuff meant anything except the first time I got to take two authors in Tampa on TV show. And like I finally felt it. I remember walking out of the Today Show and seeing a monk downstairs and being like, I feel nothing. Like I don't feel anything from that. And that was 2.7 million people live. Like
Yeah.
felt nothing. A little nervous before, but nothing. Seeing these two women like go on the stage because I did something and like I was like, I see you
Hmm.
guys, and now they're like
Yeah.
one brought a like entourage. We're like, we can only bring like one person, but yay, you have an entourage. That's cute. And just like the same feeling I have for you, you're now giving that, paying that forward in a way. So it's like very endearing to hear you speak on something I
Yeah.
experience all the time. And it really is if you're a people pleaser in recovery, There's nothing better than like being able to use your platform to support other people, to like share a business. Like, on Slay the
Yeah.
USA, we have a very small but mighty page for Slay the USA. We only follow authors, just that's why the page is small, but we only follow authors. But we share, we're trying to share all the stuff like Heather's show. I'll share clips from that. Like, share your people's stuff, man. Like hype everyone up out there because
Yeah.
it feels good to give, and that was my 10
Yeah.
years plus with Kindly, was trying to teach people. It does feel good to give. It feels good when you can be the reason that somebody like knows, like you change the trajectory of their lives. Even the picnic thing, if you guys watch this
Yeah.
one episode she's referring to, I'm referring to, she goes to like a beachside picnic, which are so Instagrammable, adorable, and she
Hmm.
interviews the girl about the beachside picnic and how she get started and what she's doing now, and she talks all about that. And then she goes to the bartender who's adorable, who's like, I build custom bars, and she does all this fun stuff. And now I'm talking about you, bartender girl. I don't know what's her name. Say her name.
Her name's Rachel. The catch a
Rachel.
buzz.
Yeah, Catch a Buzz. Rachel from Catch a Buzz. Now we're talking about you because you're also putting yourself out there and saying
Hmm.
yes to an opportunity to be featured. And she might have also had the, oh my God, why me? So I love that.
Hmm.
And women are cool like that. Like, I think the old narrative of like, oh, let's all fight over like being jealous of each
Oh,
other and our
yes.
clothes. It's so tired. It's not what we do. We went on a whole retreat to like just get to know people and make connections and see how that expands our
Yeah.
capabilities. But the reality is, I would not hang out with like any reality TV people if those were my circle. It's a cage. It's not a circle,
Yeah.
right? So seeing high vibe women support high vibe women is like so 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 incredible, and I'm just so excited to see you do it. So what episodes do you have next? Do you have a new seat? Like, what is that? How does that work? Tell me about that.
I'm not sure what I'm gonna film next, only because okay, Leah, I have a bit of an announcement, which I have not shared publicly anywhere. Uh, um, I am engaged
Love.
and I will be out of the country for a few months. So I am going to take a pause for just a couple months to enjoy that. And then
That's
when I come
amazing
back,
though.
then I'll step back into figuring out who's going to be featured. So if anybody has any recommendations, let me know.
That's amazing. I'm so excited that you're engaged. That's so, so, so fun because
Thank you.
literally her chapter in Slaying Sarasota is like single and slaying. So tell us a little bit, like as much as you're comfortable, like sharing, and
Yeah.
yeah, tell us a little bit about your new love.
Yeah. I was at a point in my life where I was just done. Like I'm done dating. Like the bottom of the barrel of men are left out in this world, and I'm just not willing to go dig through the Goodwill bin to find him. And so, but everyone says it's when you're not looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if somebody tells me these things one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. And so I was supposed to go on a trip, and then it didn't end up happening. It was right after Sedona, actually. And I'm like, look at me trying to leave again. Like I just got back from a cruise. Literally 2 days later is when I got on the flight to go to Sedona. And then it was in early June that I was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. Like, and then another friend of mine called and was like, hey, like we're going on this trip. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, why not? My other one fell through, and I ended up seeing this guy, and I was like, oh, who's that? And these other guys were like trying to talk to me, and like it was very superficial, very like surface level. Like I didn't know I'm like, what are you guys doing? I don't know what's happening here. But this guy like wasn't paying me any mind, and he wasn't paying anyone else, like any other women, any mind. And I was like, okay. So I went up to him, I said hello, and then after that, we just tried to be where we were, and then where each other, was all the time. And I was like, oh, this is a different feeling. I didn't really know what was happening. And what was funny is that I literally, Lee, I cannot make this up. I was gonna write this as one of my goals in the book that I want to like open my heart to somebody to like find true love. Like I want to be ready to accept someone for who they are and not think that I have to find the perfect guy. And then I was like, no, stupid and like how embarrassing, like if that doesn't work out. And now I wish I did because that's the only goal I'm actually crushing it in because
Yeah. Well, put a little
I,
asterisk at the bottom of the chapter and say the thing I was scared to say is what came true. And that's okay to want to hold that stuff in. Because we do have fear of failure. Like, and if you're on the mindset of like, hey, I'm not looking and this and that, and then it hits you and you're like, I didn't see that coming. Like it's not,
hmm
that's private for everyone to see. I am also like the girl with all
hmm
the cliches now. And like, I'm like, I know I'm annoying, but like it'll happen when it's like, it's when
yes,
you I 100% feel like my man was made for me. 100% feel
hmm
like I was made for him. There's no question. I don't doubt
yeah.
his loyalty. He doesn't doubt my loyalty. Hopefully, you know, we're very close, and it's important. I mean, he's my date
Yeah.
every single day. All in all, we're in it together, and
Yeah.
I wanted to be single too. I didn't need anybody else. I was like
hmm
enough. I felt like people were garbage. People I definitely learned people treat you like shit out in the world, and it's not fun.
hmm
And it is awful when you're single and people are like, "Oh, it'll happen someday." I mean,
Uh,
nobody wants to see.
hmm
No one wants to hear
No.
it. And
When
that's
you're
why when
not
I get like
looking,
excited,
yeah.
I don't want to tell people too much either because I'm like, I don't want to like be that girl who's like, it'll happen when it. But
Yeah.
yes, same for me. I went like I was over it, done. Like they say, it's like the old adage. Like I gave up on love, and then the
hmm
real true love. And I honestly,
Yeah.
even after being married, I've never been in love in my life until I met
hmm
my man. And then
Same.
at 40 some odd, and you're 30 some odd. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, I've been married, been in relationships, never was in love. And I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Then it made me sad too, because I'm like, some people maybe they go their whole life and never really know.
hmm
Because you don't know until you know, right?
Right. That was
Yeah.
the other thing. I'm like, if one more person says, like, when you know, you know, because like I had been in relationships and I had so many like questions, I had so much confusion, and I'm like, I don't think this is the right relationship. If I'm so confused and if I'm constantly wondering every day, is this the one? Is this not the one? I think if I have all these questions, then that's not it. But everybody who is married and happily married would tell me, like, when you know, you know. And now I understand, and I'm like, oh, okay. And like it also sucks to be that one to tell somebody else like, oh, but like you'll know when you know, because it's not something like tangible. It's not something that I feel
No,
like
you
I
can't
could
explain.
achieve. Because I'm like, no, but now I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to truly be loved. This is what it's like to truly love someone else. And I was so insecure about being in the book and being the only single woman in the whole Slaying Sarasota book. And then I told my mom, I was like, you know what, it's funny because my chapter is called Single and Slaying. And the whole premise behind my chapter was like, man, I've been through so much, but I've done it by myself and I didn't need somebody else to help me do it or to make me successful. And now I can't wait to share that with my fiance, which like
Yeah.
complete 360. So when
Yeah.
I say that like I'm not those I don't those other goals on my list, like I'm deep in planning mode. And in my real estate business, I do a lot of events like you were talking about before. And so I feel like I'm a part-time event planner. So I plan events for my church as well as, for my real estate business. And we're coming up on our Merry Grinchmas party, which I'm super excited about. But I'm like, I'm constantly in some sort of event, that I'm planning.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh, but I'm also planning my wedding. So I'm like very
Yes.
like focused on that. And so I'm like, these other goals, they'll come, it's
Yeah,
okay.
and that's it. I mean, but that's also like when we get to that part, we write the back half. That's the whole point is we're not doing it perfectly. We're not doing it
Mhm.
flawlessly. We shouldn't be, because if we did everything perfectly according to your plan, you would still be single and you wouldn't have let that in because you were like, it's not my chapter. So that's not something I'm working on right now. And
Right.
because it's like those things, like that's kind of when I thought about the project. I'm like, there's so many things, goals, attainable goals, and telling yourself you can is
hmm
so important. And holding
Yeah.
yourself to that and saying, I said I was going to do this, which was half of the book's premise. Like, at least,
Right.
if nothing else, let's motivate each other to say, I put it in writing, I'm going to do this stuff. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But the other part is you're gonna know that not all plans, well-laid plans, are meant to like be broken, right? So I
Right.
know that there's going to be deviation. It's an expectation I have. I do not expect
Mhm.
to read every chapter in that book and everyone just checked every box. Nor do you. And how annoying
Mhm.
will it be if everybody does that? Oh, then everybody who reads it feels like a loser because like the things that they
Right.
make goals about like don't happen. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's where I think that the cool like idea behind that project, and I'm so excited. And that's kind of your next big thing because that's June. You have some
Hmm.
time to focus on your man and your engagement and all of like
Yeah.
the awesome things that you so deserve. But
Thank
again,
you.
you and I are both testament. And I just said this to my man this morning. Like I like had a string of douchebags. I couldn't
Hmm.
find love until I loved myself. I
Yeah.
only could meet the level of love that I had for myself. And as hard as it was to be alone and prioritize myself and my son first, because I just
Hmm.
was always wanted to just be a family, just make us first and think about what I liked on my pizza and what I wanted to
Yeah.
wear. And like without feeling like I had to
Yep.
please my mother or please my husband, whatever, when I fully decided I like this bitch, I'm a fan. I don't do it all perfectly. And I'm the first one,
I
and
love
you
that.
know this. I will
Yep.
fall on the sword any day and let you guys know whatever
Hmm.
you need to know because my mistakes are never from a malintended place. My
Hmm.
mistakes never come from me not wanting to do my best. My mistakes come from the happenstance of life and me reflecting on that and learning from that on my own journey. And I feel the same for others. Once we stop judging others, we stop judging ourselves too.
Yeah.
And that's a
True.
big part of it, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you feel that way too. I mean, when you're not living to your potential, and we all know what our potential is, and we feel like it's exhausting if we lived up to it, but
Hmm.
it's not, it's exciting. It's actually
Yeah.
very exciting. You know, it's that
Yeah.
like high vibration stuff. But at the same time, Heather, 2 years ago, if you were catapulted into this, you wouldn't take time. You wouldn't
Hmm.
go out of the country with your man. You would be like, oh, but I have these obligations and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I have all these people that I need to. And it's just a perception we put on ourselves. Like, I think people, you know, we want to see people show up as they are. You want to read a
Yeah.
chapter about somebody that things deviated from the plan. Like, you want to
Right.
read that chapter,
Yeah.
right?
I want to see the real rawness that happens. And so I am now, at first I was when I started writing the first part, I was very nervous about what I was going to write next. And now
Yeah.
I'm kind of just excited about it. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to write the next chapter, you know? But you are like, you hit it on the head. I got tired of hearing like, oh, like maybe like you're attracting these kinds of men. And I was like, how dare you like put that on me that these people are nuts? Like, this isn't my fault that these men act the way they do. And then it was like there was something like so healing about being in Sedona. And you saw me crying on the mountain. Like
Yes,
I was
yes.
just like, this is not good. I don't know what's happening here. And there was just such a transformation that I didn't know that I needed. And it was so healing for me when I thought that like, okay, my business is going to skyrocket when I get home from Sedona. This is going to be great. But I didn't really realize that how much I needed it for me personally. Like
That
my
part.
soul needed it
That part.
before, my business could skyrocket.
Yeah.
And
That
so
part.
I like you're saying, like that healing that, you know, it's about me first. And then the overflow is just goodness that comes out of that. But if I'm not good with me and who I am and accepts me for who I am, then how can I expect somebody else to? And praise
Right.
God
That
that
part.
that I found a man who he met me in a bathing suit. So like what you see is what you get, my guy.
I love
And
that for you.
and if you love me just the way that I am, like, then I feel like I've won. So I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And just to come full circle and I know we're getting to time, but the thing with the Sedona trip, I want to say, because I too experienced this, and we'll talk a little bit offline about that. But what
Hmm.
was interesting was we came for the business and then it became an emotional evolution trip for a
Yeah.
lot of reasons. Outside of my vortex control, the energy shifted for in
Yeah.
different ways, in great ways, in bad ways. People uncovered their own ugliness, their ugliness. Everything came for the reason it had to. There was a reason we all meant to be there at that time to go through
Hmm.
that together. So much cool stuff has come from it. The book alone, I
Yeah.
mean, the experience in Sedona, I knew no matter what happened, you can't go to Sedona and not have that like touch your heart. It's such a
Yeah.
wild place to see and be and just
Hmm.
so important. But also, I'm very much an organic individual. And if the vibe is not, you know, let's just experience this. Let's be in the moment. Let's figure it out. And
Yeah.
then let's go home and do all the homework we need to do that we need to
Right.
unpack. But I think that that's also it. Expectation is the thief of joy. And
Hmm.
I think it's really important that you lean into even the crying or whatever, like unpack
Yeah.
that, like unpack where you're at. And you did a lot of that. And I saw that in you. You were even talking to other people about where you were at in like being single at the time.
Hmm.
And so I think it was so you were not an extroverted person when I met you, nor do I think you're an extrovert today. I think you're an introverted extrovert,
No.
but
Percent.
that you were sharing openly with others, being that vulnerable about things you didn't like about yourself or others. And it's like I applaud that. I applaud like getting close to people, like not everyone, you just got to feel the energy, but because people
Yeah.
want to see you win. And I saw that too. I saw so many women wanted, like, some of the women were older than Heather, and some of the women in the project depends on their level of slaying. Some slay at 19, some slay at 47. It's 58.
Everybody was older than me, Leigh.
Everyone was older than
Everybody.
Heather, but they all wanted to like take care of her. Like all of them. They
Yeah,
still do. I know they do. I know
they
Anita's all
do.
checking up on you. They all love you
Hmm.
so much. And it was just, that's the stuff, like even with Slaying Sarasota with the series, like not only the personal evolution, getting to own your story literally and
Hmm.
figuratively,
Hmm.
but the connections, the connections are the things that you really it's not tangible to put a price on what that does to change your spirit, your energy, your potential of what you can do. So with that,
Yeah.
thank you so, so much for coming. I was so, so, so,
Oh,
so
thank
excited.
you.
We had to move it one time. Stay on with me. Tell them how
Yeah.
to find you.
Yeah, so I am on all social media. You can find me at Realtor Palo. My name is Heather Palo on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And as always, if you need any real estate help here in the Sarasota area, give me a call.
Follow Heather, watch her wedding. It's coming up. It's so exciting.
Yes.
Everybody just get popcorn because her life is just like, it's un fuego. So good for you, Heather. Stay on with me. Bye, guys.